Okay, so I'm going to talk about what I learned from the book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And like I said, oh yes, love printables. Like I said, if you want to go check out my last scope, you can. So the first thing that I thought was great about the book, and if you're not familiar with the book, real quick, it's a very, I've seen a lot about it on social media lately, and basically it's a lady, she's Japanese, and she's helped a ton of people get organized, and she just shares her overall method and strategy, and it's a little bit unique, it's a little bit different than everything else you read out there, which I found kind of refreshing. Alright, so the first thing that I really liked, she tells you to organize your home all at once, or I think she calls it all in one go. And when I first read that, I was thinking, oh my goodness, like, and she wants you to like go through every little, thing. I'm like, what are you supposed to like, I mean, I couldn't even do all that in like one weekend. Well, she does clarify and say that she means for most people, it takes them 6 months. So by all in one go, she doesn't mean like, go take a 2-week vacation, ship the kids off to grandma's and clean like a mad woman. She means, just basically concentrate on it for a period of months, she says is how long it takes most people. And I found that a refreshing perspective because so many things you read online or anywhere say just do 15 minutes a day and you'll get there. And I don't think there's anything wrong with doing a few minutes a day, and I think that approach can work really well if that's what approach you want to take. But there is also nothing wrong with doing it in a more concentrated manner. And I think there's actually some advantages. For one thing, you get on a roll, and so that's kind of the way I kind of like to do things. I'll get on a roll, maybe not for 6 months, but maybe for a month I'll really focus on decluttering. And then the next month I might really focus on my hobby of photography, because I feel like when you're constantly switching tasks, you kind of lose momentum. And if you do it in a more concentrated manner, you're going to see results much more quickly. Yeah, it definitely depends on how much stuff you have as well. So yeah, if you do it all at once, you'll start seeing results much more quickly, which will help you stay motivated. Whereas if you have a lot and you're only doing maybe 15 minutes a day, it might take you a month to see anything. Whereas if you take maybe a 2 or 3 hour time block and you like ruthlessly declutter your clothes, you're going to see like a different looking closet. So I think there is a lot of merit and there's nothing wrong with doing something all at once. And I found that refreshing because everywhere just seems to say do a few minutes a day. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that approach either. But I kind of liked that all at once. I kind of did that myself before my baby was born when I got into wild nesting mode, and it was great. Like I saw results right away. The next thing that she says that I really loved is her method is she wants you to go by categories. So like she wants you to start with clothes. She even breaks it down further if you have like too many clothes. But start with that. Put everything in a big pile. Yeah, take away, organize, yeah, basically she says declutter first and then try to find a place for everything. And I think that makes a lot of sense. But she says put everything in a big pile, pick up each item, and decide what to keep. So really this kind of turns some of the decluttering principles on its head. So you don't stand in front of your closet and say, what should I get rid of? What do I not need? Instead, you take it all out and you're deciding what to put back in. Like, what would you actually buy again? And I think this helps you. And she wants you to actually hold the item and determine what sparks joy for you. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second, the criteria for choosing what stays and what goes. But I love the idea of choosing what to bring back, because there's so many things we have and we're like, oh, well, we bought that. And we don't even think about it if we don't actually handle each item and decide what we would actually like repurchase, what we'd actually put back in today. So I think I love that method. I'm definitely gonna be trying. I think I've done that sometimes, but not so intentionally. And so I'm definitely gonna try that soon with taking a whole category of stuff and picking each item up and deciding, especially for those harder categories. All right. The next thing she talks about is when you pick each item up, you're supposed to decide if it sparks joy. And that's really the only criteria she wants you to use for deciding what to keep. Now, I talked in my last video about the things that I didn't quite agree with, and I think that while the sparking joy thing works for most things, I think there are some things that you have to have some sort of practical consideration for. But for most things, I think this is a great concept. So you don't have to sit there and say, what is the % likelihood that I'll use it? How often have I used it? You just say, like, do I love this? And it's just so refreshingly simple, and it's going to make it to where you're surrounded by everything that you love. And I think, like, especially with clothes, I have stuff that I don't even I don't know, I just don't like it. Like it bugs me, you know, something's scratchy, it doesn't fit well, I don't feel good in it, I don't like it. Why do I hang on to it? I would rather have 5 outfits that I just love and feel fantastic in than like 20 outfits that are just like, well, they'll do, you know. So I love that concept. And I also think she removes a lot of the guilt with discarding. So she says, whenever you're discarding something, like if you find an item of clothing and it still has the tags on it, does that ever happen to anybody? I mean, I'm embarrassed to say it has definitely happened to me. Like, it's been like a year and the tag is still on it. Like, I thought I was making a good purchase. Don't feel guilty about that. She says that item has served its purpose even if the tag is still on it. So that's how you need to look at it. Instead of saying, well, I paid good money for this, I still haven't used it. Look at it as it's served its purpose. It's taught me now. I realize that I should not buy something hoping to lose 5 pounds. That's my, that's what I'm personally guilty of often. I'm like, well, if I just lose 5 pounds, I'll fit in this. Or, you know, this style doesn't work for you or something like that. So it's taught you something. It's served its purpose. It's time for it to move on. Don't feel guilt about that. So I love that. And she's pretty ruthless with her discarding, which I love. Another thing she says, you know, declutter first, then organize. I think that's a great concept. And then you should find a place for every single item. Every item in your home needs a designated spot, and I love this concept. This, I think, is one of the keys to keeping your house organized, and I would bet you if you look around your home and anything that's kind of out, that's not put away, that's causing clutter, I would say a large percentage of those things probably do not have a home. Like you just bought something, you don't know where to put it, or papers are classic because you don't really have a home for them. I recommend a basket just to corral everything, but a lot of things are because they don't have a home, and just giving everything a home will make it so much easier to put it away because, you know, this is exactly where this item goes. So I loved that concept. Another thing, this is my last thing I'll point out that there were other things I liked, but I didn't want to take all day elaborating on everything. And I would recommend, if you can, read the book. It's probably easy to find because it's been around for a while. It's pretty popular. But she says, don't spend too much time organizing things you don't use often. Well, you know, that seems to make a lot of sense. But she also talked about, and this part made me a teensy bit nervous, I will admit. She talks about organizing paper, and she like basically doesn't keep anything. Like, she throws tons of papers away. She's like, oh well, if you need it, you know, you'll survive. I do not like to keep a lot of extra stuff. I used to keep more than I do now, but I guess it made me nervous to like discard it all. But one thing she does point out is like, don't spend all the time, say, organizing your warranties and manuals in this like sophisticated manner, because how often have you actually used those? If you do use those frequently, then I would recommend, yeah, spend the time organizing them. But if you don't, just putting them all in one spot, and she even says, go ahead and discard them. Like, you won't use them. If you do need them, you can call somebody, you can do this, you know. And these days, I personally think you can find a lot of manuals online. And so one thing you could do is try to save it to your computer before you throw them out. But she just gives you permission to toss them. And actually, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save our appliance ones in case, you know, we ever sell our house. And I'm keeping those with the house paper, but everything else, I think I am going to get rid of. And she says with like important papers that you save, she kind of puts them all in one place. And she says it's not worth the extra time because how often do you access those? And I was thinking about that, and I realized, like, I spend a lot of time like reorganizing my files and making them look all nice. But I don't think even once, and I did this probably a year and a half ago, I did like a revamp of my files. I don't think I think maybe one time, maybe I needed to access one paper from there. That was it. So she's right. It doesn't make a lot of sense to spend all this time organizing something that you rarely access. So I just thought that was like that was a really, I really enjoyed that point. Yeah. Yeah, she is definitely life-changing. She has some good points. And you've been tidy for 9 months. That's amazing. That's really good. Yeah, I think the key, you know, to the success of any method is how long do things stay tidy. Because, I mean, well, it's not easy to get tidy in the first place, but even if you do, really one of the hardest parts is staying that way, and she focuses a lot on that. So anyway, those were my thoughts of the book. Does anybody else have any positives they gleaned? If you haven't read the book, can you just type in the chat box, tell me that you haven't? I'm just really curious if there's people here who haven't read it. Because like I said, if you haven't, I would definitely recommend at least, you know, taking a look at it. Her house is spotless and kitchen is amazing. I recommend it. All right, Crafter's Retreat. Awesome. That is so exciting. Like to hear some, like a true success story. Jennifer can't wait to read it. It's free on YouTube. Okay, I didn't know that. OBX Grill has not read it. Okay, so yeah, so I definitely recommend taking a look at it. Oh, started and never finished. Totally fine. You know, even if you start a book and you can glean something from it, have it but need to read it. That was me for a while. I finally just jumped in and read it. Haven't but would like to. Great idea. The book is called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. Unfortunately, I didn't actually bring my physical copy, but it's on Kindle, you know, Audible, physical copies, all that stuff. So wherever you like to read, I got it. I have a physical copy and I also got it on Kindle because since I got a newer, like the bigger phone, it's actually really easy to read books on there, and I find myself, I just love having all my books at my fingertips, and I don't read a ton of books actually, but I'm very glad that I read that one. So anyway, thanks to you guys for listening, and like I said, if you want to check out my last scope about the things that I didn't disagree, you can go to catch.me/iHeartPlanners, or it will be on the iHeartPlanners blog Wednesday, so in 2 days, and then this one will be on there a week from Wednesday. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you later.